Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So what does food mean to you? Well, join me this week as my special guest is a Tex-Mex expert. So she's going to talk to us about the fusion of, Texas American and Mexican cuisine. And also I have an art expert on who is going to tell us about, a book that she wrote about one of the biggest art heists in the world, although it occurred in Boston. So stay tuned for those interviews. And I wanted to give you my top 10 lists of the biggest art heists around the world in history. So you can let us know if you know or knew about any of those art heists. These are the top 10 art heists that shook the world. And they're 10 of the most notorious art heists in history. So the first one is the one that we're going to talk about with our guest today. It occurred in 1990 in Boston. It was at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. And the value of the art heist was $500 million. So two men dressed as police stole 13 masterpieces, including works by Vermeer and Rembrandt, and that is still unsolved. Number 2 is the Ghent altarpiece panel theft. This was in 1934 in Belgium. The artwork was the Just Judges panel from Jan van Eyck's altarpiece. It was stolen from St. Bavo's Cathedral. The panel remains missing despite deathbed confessions and decades of searching. Then we have the Mona Lisa theft, which occurred in 1911 in Paris, France. So the thief's name was Vincenzo Perugia, and he hid in the Louvre overnight, the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. He hid there overnight and walked out with Da Vinci's masterpiece under his coat. It was recovered 2 years later. Number 4 occurred in the Stockholm National Museum heist, and that was in 2000 in Sweden. That had a value of $45 million. Armed thieves stole Rembrandt and Renoir paintings, escaping via speedboat after setting the diversionary car fires. Number 5 is the Van Gogh Museum heist, which occurred in 2002 in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. 2 early Van Gogh paintings were stolen, and they were stolen by scaling the museum wall. They were recovered in 2016 in a farmhouse near Naples. Number 6 was an art heist that occurred at the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts in Canada in 1972. This heist had a value of $20 million. The thieves entered through a skylight and stole 18 paintings and 39 objects. Most of them still remain missing, unfortunately. Number 7, the Scream heist. These occurred in 1994 and 2004 in Oslo, Norway. The artist was Edvard Munch, or do you say Edvard Munch? 2 separate thefts of different versions of the Scream, both recovered, thank goodness, but unfortunately, one was damaged. Number 8, the Kunsthal Museum heist in Rotterdam, Netherlands in 2012. The artworks stolen were Picasso, Monet, and Matisse. The thieves entered and exited in minutes. Paintings believed to have been destroyed, unfortunately. Number 9 is the Fabergé egg disappearances. Those Fabergé eggs, those beautiful eggs. This occurred in 1917 in Russia. Several imperial eggs vanished during the Russian Revolution. One resurfaced in 2014 at a flea market. And number 10 is the Museum of Modern Art heist in 2010 in Paris, France. The artworks stolen were Picasso, Matisse, Modigliani. A lone thief bypassed security and stole 5 masterpieces, and they are still missing, unfortunately. If you know of any other interesting art heists that we should mention, reach out, hashtag the Maria Liberati Show, and let us know on social media, and we'll be sure to mention them. I'm hoping there's not a lot more. I always hate to see art destroyed or misplaced, so we can't everyone can appreciate it. Stay tuned for my upcoming interviews and more.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for being here with us. We're celebrating National Fajita Day this month, and we have Melissa Guerra. She's a special guest. She's an author, blogger. Her specialties are on foods of Texas and the Americas. Is that correct, Melissa?
That's correct. I live right on the border of Mexico, so I have this incredible opportunity to see two cultures and two worlds and try to make them fit together in terms of food.
Oh, that's exciting, because I do that with Italy, but Italy's not so close, and I can't be there that frequently, and you're right there, so you get to kind of meld the cultures together and figure that out while you're living there. That's great. So, as I mentioned, July is there's National Fajita Day in July. I love fajitas too. So tell us about, is there a history to the fajita and the correct way to put a fajita together? And what is a fajita? Because not everybody knows what that is.
So our specialty here on the border is fajitas. It is the absolute quintessential dish that we serve. And I live on a cattle ranch. And so we have always had fajitas grilled over a mesquite fire. That is that and chicken fried steak. Those are our signature dishes. But to understand the history of the fajita, you have to understand what the word means first. So it's a Spanish word, fajita, and it's the diminutive. I didn't even say that right.
I do that wrong sometimes too. Yes, almost had it.
The word fajita is a diminutive of faja, and a faja means, and that's F-A-J-A, you pronounce the J like an H, faja, and a faja is a sash or a girdle or something that goes around the torso. And I don't have a side of beef available, so I'm just going to use myself here as some sort of anatomical example. But a faja is, like I said, is something that surrounds the torso. So if you see like a mariachi and he's got his guitar and he has his pants and his jacket, and there's usually some sort of belt that is around his middle, that is a faja. And for people that wear them, a girdle is also a faja. So you can see advertisements with people wearing pretty shapely stuff. That is a faja. So a fajita is considered like a band or a sash that would have come from a beef cow. And so sometimes it can be the diaphragm, or sometimes it can be like the outer flank, and it's not flank steak,
right?
But it's a stretch of muscle that is kind of connective between the torso and the leg of a cow.
Oh, okay.
So it is primarily beef. Now, knowing what the word means, you can look at chicken, you can look at pork, and you can look at shrimp. And anybody can tell you that none of those have the same anatomy that a beef cow does.
Right.
So somewhere along the lines, somebody reinterpreted the word fajita from part of the body to weigh, and not part of my body, just to be clear, but part of a beef cow's body.
Right.
But they reinterpreted the word fajita from part of the body to weigh that, or technique of cooking or grilling any type of protein. So if that makes sense. So because I've seen like fish fajitas and shrimp fajitas.
And I imagine not vegetarian. I'm actually vegetarian, but you could probably grill plant-based meat the same way.
Exactly.
So what's the
Exactly.
style
Because
of grilling now? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
no,
you.
but now it's morphed into a technique. So yeah, you could have tofu fajitas
Yes,
or carrot fajitas. You can
yes.
have anything that would be considered a fajita, but it's not really a fajita unless it is, or like, okay, let's say pork chop or sweetbreads. I mean, these are all cuts of meat.
Mhm.
But we've definitely seen vegetable cutlets that are available now. There's other there are plant-based proteins that approximate a cut of meat. So, it just kind of morphed around a little bit. So
What's the grilling technique then that it's morphed into? Is there a special, is that what you're saying? It's a grilling technique for this fajita?
So I live on a cattle ranch, and I can tell you the way that we grill it,
Right.
because Texas is big. We have a lot of outdoors. We have a lot of mesquite wood, so we would grill it outside. Now, if you're in a restaurant setting, you can't do that. Grilling outside is messy and it's lots of smoke, and you need like a whole bunch of wood, and it doesn't really work into like a good cost analysis, or you don't get a really good return on your money.
Yes.
So restaurants have come up with this way, and I don't know who originated it, but of course it was genius.
Yes.
Where you would get a cast iron griddle, and you would grill onions and peppers, and you would bring you'd put your protein in it, grill it, and then you would bring that out to the table, and it would be steaming and sizzling. It's very dramatic and it's incredible. But that is a restaurant way.
Okay.
So the way, and let me go back and talk a little bit about fajitas as well.
Yes.
It's not filet mignon. It's not filet mignon. So it would have been considered a less expensive cut. Like the tri-tip, the anglais, it's just something that the butcher would have like gotten rid of. So like I said, we grill them outside, but in a restaurant setting, they would probably chop them up because they can be a little bit tough, and mix them with onions and peppers, and then grill them very quickly over like a gas stove or grill, and then run them out to the table. So, like I said, the cut of
and everything, the smell sounds, oh, I could just smell it. Sounds like it smells delicious with the peppers and onions.
Yes. So, and then what happens is then usually the person at the next table, they'll end up ordering the same thing.
So that's the filling, right? Is that the filling? Is then there? So what do they put it in? What's the wrap or?
So once you have the protein grilled with the peppers and the onions, then they're usually served up with tortillas, either corn or flour, and some type of salsa. And then maybe some avocados, or but you have like all of the grilled peppers and onions. And another trick in restaurants, I don't mean trick, but it's great the way that they do this is they add a lot of extra peppers and onions, so it keeps costs down. You grill up a bunch of vegetables and a small amount of protein, and then it'll end up feeding two people. So it's brilliant the way that it's done now.
I think that what you're saying, doing that. So in Italy, there's a technique that it's not really a technique, but a history. It was called peasant cooking. And they used to only use a little bit of meat also because, hey, it's expensive, and they would bump stuff up with lots of vegetables and things like that, even breads. So it sounds like fajita is probably like more like a street food that is not expensive. I mean, the history, is that correct? It was kind of, and they're bumping it up with lots of vegetables, it's actually healthier for you anyway to do that, just a little bit of protein. But could that be part of, like, is it kind of a street food that you can get easily, say, on the streets in Mexico, purchase?
Yes, most definitely. I mean, it's very inexpensive. But street foods like that, I'm going to say it's more of a restaurant food, because keeping all that meat chilled,
Yeah.
You know, so yes, street food, yes. But yeah, even the street tacos that I've had, the fajita has gotten so popular because of the way that it's been cooked. Like it's actually gotten to be around the price of filet mignon as well. You know, so it's not as cheap as it used to be because you think about it. I mean, a cow, they only have one area.
Yes.
And if everybody's ordering it, then you have to figure out a way to serve more of that
Right.
without, utilizing that many cattle. If that makes sense, like you have the tenderloin, there's only,
It does make sense. And then I'm sure there are places that call it fajitas and use any kind of beef, right? Not the
that is true. And so therefore, that's when it morphed from the cut of beef
right
to the technique of cooking.
technique of cooking, which is, so you're saying it sounds like it's seared in a cast iron pan with peppers and onions. That's the more of the technique, right? And you can do that with shrimp, chicken, like vegetarian-based meats, and then serve it in a corn or flour tortilla. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. So it's very specific to South Texas and northern Mexico, and I'll tell you why. Because we don't have our atmosphere here, the daily levels of heat, like it's hot. Can I say hell? Oh, it's hot as heck here. It's really hot as hell, but it's hot as hell here, and we can't really have pork because it's just too hot. So pork is more seen in like southern Mexico, where it's a little bit cooler, a lot more jungly.
Yeah.
But we are in like a northern desert. I think our area is called is it the Chihuahua Desert? And I don't mean the dog, I mean the state of Chihuahua. But it's like I said, very hot, very dry,
Right.
and with less water because we don't get that much rain. Cattle and beef is a mainstay in our diet because it just doesn't require the same amount of water that, say, like a crop would require.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. I'm wondering, I'm very curious, in Italy, what do they do with flank steak or skirt steak? Because fajitas are literally called skirt steak.
You know, I have to be honest. I'm a vegetarian, so I get more into the carbohydrate dishes and things like that, and some seafood dishes and the desserts. So I'm really not into the steaks. I couldn't really tell you too much about the steaks, although the one thing that I know that is historically in, especially the Tuscan history, is a type of steak they call the chianina, and it's because it comes from this part of Tuscany. Have you ever heard of it?
Are you saying there's a type of cattle called the chianina that is it's an Italian breed of cattle? And so could you say the word again, please?
Chianina.
Oh, chianina. Okay.
Chianina, CH, like a hard CH, chianina. It's in, it comes from that region in Tuscany. And actually, if you drive through, which is such a beautiful drive, you will see places where they raise the chianina because they feed them special herbs and grass, because the steak that they get from the chianina is served. And I can remember my grandmother eating this, but it's really rare. It's only seared on both sides. And the tradition is that the inside is rare. It's just seared on both sides, and it's rare. And there are people that send for that from all over the world. To, people that have the money to send for that, dry with ice and everything. They get that from Tuscany. But that I can tell you, I know is in the Italian history. Those types of steaks is this chianina where they serve it rare, that's seared on the outside. As far as, Italians, when they have the meats, they don't really do usually any kind of sandwiches or anything like, I would call that a version of a sandwich, for lack of a better word, where they put, bread on or whatever type of a wrap or something. If they do, it's like a really thinly sliced steak or, something sliced really thinly that they would put. So if they're serving a steak, as I said, the most famous one, you're right, is this Chianina.
Yeah. I've seen they're small. The cattle are small in stature and they're black.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. I've seen those. That breed. It's a beautiful, beautiful breed.
It is. So, but anyway, so that's what's in their history is this Chianina steak, and they're famous for that, as far as anything. But I was just remarking that they have this culture of peasant cuisine, which is foods that they developed that they're some are street foods now, and some have morphed into these extremely expensive dishes that are trendy in restaurants. And they were actually foods that were maybe might have been thrown away or discarded, and they figured out how to reuse and recycle them, of course, in a tasty way, in ways that they're still healthy for you to eat. And so that's what it was coming to mind when you were telling me that, it's the meat that could just be thrown away. So they're just mixing a little bit with peppers and onions and making it tasty and cutting it real small so you can still eat it if it's tough. And that's why, I remarked about the peasant cuisine, which sounds like something like that. But it sounds like the restaurants have kind of gotten into the trend, right? So now they're making it with shrimp, and I'm sure you can make, I think I've seen lobster fajitas somewhere. I'm sure everybody's got some way to do a fajita. So it sounds like it's a pretty simple kind of recipe then. That it's not really tons of ingredients. It's just you are adding, right, the protein, you're searing it with the peppers and onions, and maybe you can use a little bit of, do they use any kind of oils or anything? A little bit of an oil. Onion?
Yeah, you'd have to. It's yes, you do need some type of oil.
So from what I would normally use olive oil, peppers and onions, and then you sear your whatever you're going to use for protein, I guess. Sear it all together, cook it, and then add it into the corn or flour tortilla. Is that what we're doing? And then you add a salsa, possibly, and avocado. Oh, that sounds so good. Really yummy. And that's basically it. Is there anything else you would add to it? Fresh tomatoes, fresh lettuce? Do they do that? Do they add that or no? Typically, no.
No, a beer.
Okay. Wow, that sounds so good. Oh, I think I know what I'm having for lunch. I can find me some flour and corn tortillas because I didn't keep them in my pantry, but that sounds really, really good. Really good. So that's then the simple recipe for a fajita. It's just that. Is that it?
It's very easy. You just have to grill a skirt steak, and you can add other vegetables to where it's grilled. And then, usually there's not a lot of other like fresh salady bits added. It's usually just straight off the grill into your tortilla. And I've seen people even add cheese. We really don't.
Yeah.
But avocado and salsa for sure.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Sounds like it's a great flavor. Is there anything like as far as a special type of tortilla, like flour, corn, anything with that we should know of, or no, just the flour or corn tortilla is fine?
The national tortilla of Mexico is the corn tortilla. And once you get south of Monterrey, which is about 2 hours from my house, once you get south of there, you really don't see that many flour tortillas. Maybe up towards the border of Arizona, and you will see flour tortillas. But the closer you are to U.S. food culture, that's where you will see more flour tortillas. But once you get into where there's more indigenous culture, then that's the culture of corn, and the flour pretty much disappears.
So they use the corn tortilla then for the fajita. That's what you're saying. Wow. And the difference, because I know the softer ones are the flour ones. Are the corn tortillas also softer, or usually the crispy. They're crispy, right?
Yeah, no, usually all tortillas are made at home. I mean, you can get store-bought ones, but generally speaking, the tortillas are made on site, so they're all soft.
Right.
They're very recently made and they're not stale. And when you buy tortillas in the US in the grocery store, they've had preservatives added to them, say stay softer longer. But in Mexico, they're made very, very freshly, so they're always very soft. So once you have the corn tortilla, then you have all sorts of options for frying it, making it crispy, making different shapes, which are every single one of them is delicious.
Yeah.
It just depends on, what you want, what your desired outcome dish is.
Fajita if it's a corn tortilla, would it be a crispy, I'm thinking of a crispy corn tortilla kind of thing.
Yeah, generally soft.
They're soft. Okay. That's what I would think, because I would think it's probably easier to fill with all that stuff we're talking about as a soft.
Yes, and because it's a grilled dish, there's usually a grill somewhere in there, and so you usually don't like grill and fry at the same time. There's a lot going on there. So
Definitely. Wow, that sounds really yummy. So, well, we know how we're all going to be celebrating National Fajita Day with these delicious fajitas. Melissa, thank you so much for sharing that with us. So tell us where everybody can find you. I know you have a website. Why don't you tell us your website?
Yes, you can find me online. It's kitchenwrangler.com. And so I post, and I'm also on Instagram. I try to post every day. And Twitter, I'm on Facebook. And now I'm on YouTube. I am learning how to edit, which is so challenging. I don't know why I got that bright idea, but it is really, really challenging, but it's a lot of fun. It's really awesome to connect with people and to talk about food. I would love to hear more about Italy. And I mean, I would just like to go and stay in Italy for a long time.
Yes, believe me, you will, and you won't want to come back. I can tell you that. At least for a little bit anyway. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure we'll have you back again. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you.
Discover the timeless secrets of Italian cuisine with the Basic Art of Italian Cooking series by Maria Liberati. That's me. From fragrant basil to silky olive oil, each page is a culinary masterpiece. Taste the passion, embrace the tradition, and create your own masterpieces in the kitchen with my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. Buon appetito, and you can find the books on Amazon.com, Kindle, on marialiberati.com, and on the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. Okay, so, we're getting ready for, I just love books. I don't know how my listeners feel. I'm hoping everybody loves books. Books are so, it's a great way to transport you anywhere, learn about anything. And we're getting ready for August 9th is actually National Book Lovers Day. And I have on, today we have on Carol Orange, who is the author of such an incredible book. It is just so interesting, especially for art lovers, but really for anyone. Such an interesting and incredible story. It's called A Discerning Eye, but Carol has an interesting background herself in the art world. She's an expert. So I'm going to welcome you, Carol Orange, to my show, to the Maria Liberati Show. And Carol, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Maria, for having me on. Yes, my background is in both art history and in English. I studied at Cornell University, and I fell in love with the art world when I was there taking art history courses. After I graduated, I was really fortunate. I had this great job in London working on a book of Spanish art,
Mm-hmm.
with a man named Xavier de Salas. He
Uh-huh.
was then the attaché at the embassy in London, the Spanish embassy. He
Uh-huh.
later became the director of the Prado Museum. So
Oh
imagine
my
how
God.
lucky I was,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
Senor de Salas. So I learned so much about art history from him.
Uh-huh.
And I then had a gallery in Boston for many years.
Uh-huh.
So when the robbery happened at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, which is such a gem of a museum,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was my favorite place to go to when I lived in Boston for
Uh-huh.
30 years.
Uh-huh.
So I thought about who could have done such an absolutely horrible thing, because it deprives the people
Uh-huh.
of 13 magnificent works of art. One of them is Vermeer's The Concert, and there are only 36 Vermeers in the
Oh,
world.
wow. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to tell our listeners, in case they don't know, a discerning eye is about this unbelievable theft of these 13 works of art. I didn't really mention that. So I'm sorry, go ahead. Yes, Vermeer
Okay.
was one of them. Yes.
Yes. So Vermeer was probably the jewel of the 13 that were
Uh-huh.
stolen, because it's so rare. It's also such a gorgeous painting.
Wow.
And Isabella Gardner bought it
Mm-hmm.
at an auction in Paris
Mm-hmm.
for $6,000
Huh?
at the time. Vermeer actually was not well known at that time, but she fell in love with the painting. And of
Uh-huh.
course, it's absolutely priceless right
Oh.
now.
Uh-huh.
So I as an art dealer, was so angry, and
Uh-huh.
also as a Boston resident,
Oh,
about
yes.
this. And I started putting together some thoughts about what might have happened,
Right.
because the thieves were in the museum
Uh-huh.
for 81 minutes,
Oh,
which is unheard of.
wow.
Usually in art thefts, thieves rush in and grab what's closest to the door,
Uh-huh.
but that didn't happen at the Gardner. They tied up the night guards,
Oh
who
my
were
gosh.
Berkeley music students,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they had the run of the place for 81 minutes, and they could
Oh,
have stole anything, but
yes.
they chose these 13 art objects. And
Uh-huh.
I believe there was a mastermind. The thieves were just henchmen for the
Oh,
mastermind, and they did
wow.
a pretty terrible job. They
Yes.
cut the paintings out of the frames.
Oh my gosh.
They just sort of grab things, but I think they were working from a laundry list. So my
Oh.
protagonist is an art dealer,
Oh.
and she analyzes all 13 art objects, and
Uh-huh.
she finds an underlying theme, which is the tension between dark and light.
Huh.
And from that, she puts together a psychological profile of the thief. She
Oh.
says that the thief is, the light side is very confident,
Mm-hmm.
very, very wonderful.
Right.
And the dark side is someone who is really greedy and
Oh.
believes that they deserve whatever they can grab hold of.
Right.
And so the tension in the paintings is reflected in the personality of the thief. In
Oh.
the novel,
Uh-huh.
she comes into contact with the FBI. She's introduced to them,
Uh-huh.
and they are very taken with her analysis and
Uh-huh.
her profiling. And in real life, the
Uh-huh.
FBI actually never analyzed
Oh.
the 13 stolen objects. It's
Uh-huh.
like, how could the thieves have stolen 3 Degas drawings when right next to them
Uh-huh.
was a priceless drawing by Michelangelo?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, they did steal, the Vermeer, which is priceless, and they
Right.
stole some Rembrandts.
Right.
But it's like one of the jewels of the Gardner collection
Uh-huh.
is Titian's Rape of Europa,
Uh-huh.
which is in on the third floor, and they could have easily gone to
Gotten
the
that.
third floor and
Right.
taken that.
Right.
But
Right.
Isabella Gardner hired the leading Italian Renaissance scholar at the
Uh-huh.
time, named Bernard Berenson,
Uh-huh.
and he helped her put the Italian Renaissance collection together.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
in actual fact, if we're just looking at money
Yes.
versus art,
Mm-hmm.
the Italian Renaissance paintings are even more valuable
Valuable.
than the paintings that were stolen from the Dutch room. So
Wow.
the content of the
Uh-huh.
paintings
Uh-huh.
had to have some meaning for the hypothetical thief.
Thief. And
And
can you just tell us, Carol, too, because not everybody's familiar with the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. That has a really interesting story. Can you just give us a little bit of background on that?
on the museum
Yes,
itself.
on the museum
Okay.
where this theft took place.
Okay, so the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum is on the Fenway in Boston.
Uh-huh.
It's right across the street from Simmons University, which is where I got my MBA, actually. And so it's, near the Museum of Fine Arts, it's
Uh-huh.
near the Museum Art School. It's it's part of the Emerald necklace of the Fenway area
Right.
that Franklin Law Olmsted designed for
Mm-hmm.
Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So Isabella Gardner was a traveler and a collector,
Mm-hmm.
and she loved Venice. So the Gardner Museum is designed like a Venetian palace.
Oh.
It looks very austere on the
Uh-huh.
outside,
Uh-huh.
but if you walk inside, your breath will be taken away because it's these pink walls
Wow.
that have nasturtiums streaming
Uh-huh.
down. It has a courtyard with all kinds of gorgeous flowering plants
Oh my
and
goodness.
ancient Italian sculptures. It
Uh-huh.
is it is a masterpiece.
Yes.
And I've taken so many people there over the years, and
Uh-huh.
they are just stunned, not
Yes.
only at the beautiful building, but
Mm-hmm.
at the quality of the art
Right.
collection.
Yes,
So
yes.
Isabella, in her day,
Mm-hmm.
was considered a rebel
Uh-huh.
by the other Boston matrons, who were much more society matrons, who were
Uh-huh.
much more conservative.
Uh-huh.
She was a risk taker.
Mm-hmm.
She she would wear uh, she would wear a banner that said "Go you Red Sox" when she went to the Fenway.
Uh-huh.
She would dress up um, when she went to see, the baseball team.
Right.
But when she went to the Brighton Roadway, which
Uh,
was a place where horses were raced, she would dress up in ermine and silk with flowers in her hair. She was quite something. And
yes.
in my novel,
Uh-huh.
the protagonist, who is an art dealer,
Right.
um, has a relationship with Isabella Gardner. It's not real; it's imagined.
Imagine. Uh-huh.
She Isabella Gardner is her idol,
Uh-huh.
and so she joins Isabella on the on the raceway, and she
Uh-huh.
gets into her carriage, and she has a discussion with her about
Uh-huh.
Degas.
Uh-huh.
And Isabella says, "I don't care, Miss Portia. Just get those paintings back." So I had a lot of fun
Yeah,
writing this
writing this book.
novel.
So tell me, and I didn't get to read, I read a synopsis of everything, but or are we giving away too much if we say, did they ever recover these paintings that were stolen?
In real life, they have not yet recovered them.
Oh my
No, it's been
gosh.
32 years and they have not
Oh,
yet recovered them.
oh my
Um,
goodness.
it's really, really
And no
sad.
one has ever like found any of those paintings anywhere, like on the market somewhere, or someone trying to auction them off or anything.
You really can't. They're too well known,
Uh-huh.
so they could not be auctioned.
Right.
They're too well known. Um,
Exactly.
I mean, the thing, my fantasy in my novel,
Yes.
they are returned.
Oh, okay.
In my novel, the heroine, Portia Malatesta,
Uh-huh.
works with the FBI and Interpol,
Uh-huh.
and they get the paintings back,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
because that's my wish,
Right,
my
right.
greatest,
Yes.
greatest wish.
Wow.
My fantasy is that they are in someone's house somewhere.
Right.
That and this definitely is a realistic possibility. This has
Yeah.
happened before.
Oh.
Um, Fairly recently in Germany, the son of Hitler's major art dealer, when
Uh-huh.
Hitler was stealing lots of art from Jewish families in
Yes.
Europe.
Yes.
Um, he had a collection of his father's art that was
Uh-huh.
stolen. And so it's now being returned to the original
The
owners.
original
So
owners.
it's not inconceivable
Right.
that the art would be in someone's home.
Someone's home. Yes. And I just said, because I'm thinking somebody that would steal like that, they can't have too much sense. They steal and then they may, try to think that they're going to get money or something and they just stupidly try to auction it off. But I mean, if you have a little bit of sense, right, they're too famous to try and auction off, but that would be the only other reason I would think somebody just wants them in their home, other
Right,
than the monetary value is getting them in their
right,
home. But
right.
oh
They
my
want it
goodness.
for their own selfish
Yes.
reasons. And, Hitler and Goring,
Right.
um, that's what they did
Oh,
during, World War II. They were
right.
amassing this huge collection, each of them.
Uh-huh.
And, they were the worst examples, but this
Yes.
kind of stealing art because you love art and you feel that you deserve it,
Uh-huh.
and that you shouldn't have to go the ordinary route to get
Right.
it,
Uh-huh.
is not a new story. It's
Oh.
something that's happened before.
Uh-huh.
Um, when thieves steal something, as I said, just for the monetary value, they
Right.
just grab what's closest to the door and run.
Oh.
So um, this was a very well thought out plan, because
Yes.
whoever was behind it, the mastermind,
Mm-hmm.
knew that the gardener had weak security in the evenings,
Oh.
and so they put together this plan, and they
Mhm.
had, as I said, a shopping list, because
Yes.
they could have chosen, um, lots of other art that
Right.
was really valuable
Yes.
and magnificent, because Isabella she's the one with a discerning eye. She had lots of money, but what made her different was her eye.
Uh-huh.
She could buy something while she was traveling and it
Uh-huh.
would turn out to be a masterpiece.
Wow.
She did that with Japanese scrolls. She did
Mm-hmm.
that with all kinds of, Chinese artifacts. She did
Uh-huh.
that certainly in Venice, which was, as I
Yes.
said, her favorite place in the world.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. They must have had a laundry list and had it well planned out, because if not, you would think they would just grab whatever they could near the nearest exit and just make a run for it. But this these people, whoever. It's just amazing, though. It was 32 years ago, did you say?
Right,
Wow.
right. It happened March 18th, 1990.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was, March 17th
Uh-huh.
is a big holiday in Boston. It's St.
Yes.
Patrick's Day, but this
Yes.
happened at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh,
So whoever planned it knew that the police would be tied up
yes.
with the real police would be tied up
Yes.
with brawls, but the faux police, the police who got the night guards to let them in,
Mm-hmm.
they were disguised as Boston policemen, and they got in by saying there's a disturbance in the neighborhood and we need to get in. And the guards, let them in, which was really not too smart. But
Yeah. Oh my
yeah,
goodness. Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
So,
Wow. What
yeah.
an incredible story. So, Carol, tell us, tell my readers where, or my listeners, not readers, listeners, where they can find this book and where they can find more information about you. Do you have a website that they can
I
look for?
do. I have a website. It's
Yes.
www.carolorange.com. They can find the book
Uh-huh.
anywhere books are sold.
Great.
It's in bookstores. It's on Amazon.
Mhm.
There's also an audio version, which I'm very proud of
Oh, wow.
because it's narrated by the actor Campbell Scott and
Wow.
his wife Kathleen McElfresh. And Campbell is someone whom I know, and he's not only a superb actor, but he's
Yes.
a wonderful person. So I was so
Yes.
thrilled
Oh,
that they
that's
narrated.
exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a great read, or you can even listen to it, or when you're on the beach a lot of times you want something to read, or just outside enjoying, the summertime. So it's a really beautiful book to read and celebrate National Book Lovers Day. Thanks so much, Carol Orange, and it's A Discerning Eye. And you can go to Carol's website. Are you on any social media, Carol? Can we find you?
Yes, I
Okay.
am. I'm on Twitter. I'm
Uh-huh.
on
There you
Instagram.
go.
I'm on Facebook, of course. And
Yes.
my 9-year-old granddaughter just made a TikTok video.
There you go. There you
I
go.
have to
That's
tell you, I'm so proud of it because she decided this is what she wanted to do.
uh-huh.
And she's talented. She's really
Wow.
talented. She
Wow.
synced it to a K-pop song. It's so
My
darling.
gosh. Yeah, it's wonderful. I know my nieces make up a lot of my videos and things too, and they do it so quickly, They just
Yes,
do it
yes.
quickly, where with me it might take me years to do. They just, they know how to do that. That's great. Well, we'll definitely have to look for that video. Thanks again so much, Carol, for being here, and much success with the book A Discerning Eye by Carol Orange.
Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show. And thanks, as always, to my producer, Britton Roselle, and this week's special guests. And if you would like to share with everybody in our listening audience all around the world what your favorite work of art is, just hashtag it, the Maria Liberati Show. And you can put it on social media, and we'll try to share with everyone on the blog, themarialiberatishow.com. I had to pick one. I would hashtag the Mona Lisa. I could have a painting to hang in my living room. What my favorite painting would be, it would definitely be the real Mona Lisa, but there are many more that I do love. Since our episode today was about famous art heists and of some very, very famous works of art, if any come to mind that you really like, just share it and hashtag it, the Maria Liberati Show. And as always, you can find me on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on Twitter or X at Maria Liberati, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, on Vimeo at Maria Liberati, on the Maria Liberati Show, which is our YouTube channel. It's called The Maria Liberati Show. And did I mention marialiberati.com is my website and blog. And you can also find us at themarialiberatishow.com, our website for the podcast. And you can also find me at vimeo.com and my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. You can find it on artoflivingprimamedia.com, which is the publisher's website. You can also find the books really anywhere books are sold. On Amazon and Kindle, they have now released audiobook versions of many of my books. So if you want to just listen to it while you're driving or on the beach or outside, you can now listen to the books. You can also find my books at barnesandnoble.com. And until next time, peace, love, and pasta.